Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and I am back again with another quick Flutter tutorial. In this video we are going to see how can we save our app data locally in Flutter using the Hive local database. So let's take a look at the app. This is the app that we are going to create by the end of this tutorial. So let's give a name to the student that we are going to create, an age and a roll number, and let's add the student. Now as you can see that the student has been added to our list. Now let's create another student like the same as we did for now, and let's just give it random values and add this. Now after adding, as you can see that we have two users or two students, and if we quit the app and launch it again, then we have again two users. And if we just add the names again, let's say Jack this time, and the age should be 13 and the roll number should be 9. If we add the student, as you can see the Jack has been added to our list, and if we quit again and restart the app again, our values are like what we have created. So this is the app that we are going to create in this tutorial. So make sure to like this video and subscribe my channel. So let's begin without wasting any time. So first of all, let's import the necessary packages that we are going to need throughout the tutorial or throughout making the app. So we will need the Flutter Hive package. So let's copy this command from the page. I will give the link in the description to this page. Now after copying the command, come to the directory of the project that you have just created. I have just created the basic Flutter app that the Flutter gives by default from the Flutter create command. Let's come into a terminal and paste this and hit enter. After hitting enter, this will add the Flutter Hive package in your Flutter project. Now the second package that we will need is the only Hive package. Remember that this is Hive underscore Flutter package, and we will also need the Hive package in case we need this. So just copy this command also, paste it inside the terminal and hit enter. So this will also install the Hive package in your project. Now we are ready to start coding with Flutter and Hive. So before starting with coding our app, we will need to know how our Hive database will work. So basically our Hive database will create a new Hive box, and this data box will store all our values. So let's say we will create a list of the student details, and the details will be name, age and roll number. And in the name we should give it a value, and in the age and roll number we should also give a value, and these values will be stored in a list. And this Hive box will be loaded by our Hive database when we start the app. So this is the basic functionality of the app. So this will go in a loop, and we will again and again load this our data, and we can add and manipulate them when we are in the app. So this is what we are going to code. So let's start with the coding part. So I have started the default app in the simulator, and I have removed all the boilerplate codes because we will start from scratch. And after removing all the boilerplate code, you will have only the body in the scaffold that will also be empty. So it will look something like this in the app. So now we will start coding from scratch. So first of all, in the body of the scaffold we will need a center, and inside the center we will need a padding. So inside the center we want a child, and the child should be a padding. And as the child of this padding, or first of all we will give it a padding of constant edge insets dot only, and we want to give it only on top, and it will be of value 100 pixels. So after giving it a padding of 100 pixels, now we want to say we want a child of this. So we will come down and outside the padding, and we will say we want a child of this, and the child will be a column again. So in this column, the first thing that we need is a text, and this text will say add student, or we will just remove this first. Okay, we want the children also, children, and as the children the first child should be text, and text should be add student. Now if we say this, you can see add student over here. Now let's add a comma right here to format the code. Now we want to give a style to make it a title font. So we'll give it a style, and style will be a text style. and in the text side we will say font weight will be bold, so font weight is font weight dot bold. And also we want to set the font size, so font size will be something like 38. And after doing this we will just save this, and you can see the add student title over here. Now below the or above the text we can just add a constant, and after the adding the constant we will just move again forward to the padding. And in this padding we want it to be constant, and it will be edge insets on all sides, and 20.0 will be its value, so it will be of 20 pixels. And after doing this we want a child of this padding, so this should be a text field to enter the name, so this will be a text field to enter the name, and the text field will contain a controller, and this controller we will create this above. So before the home page we will say we will create a new controller, so var name controller will be text editing controller. Now we will just save this, and we will copy 2 more times because we have age and roll number 2, so we will copy 2 more times, and instead of name controller age controller, and here we will say role controller. So we have created the controllers. Now we can say here we have the name controller, so we have created the name controller. Now we have to give some decoration to it, so in the decoration we will say we want to give it input decoration, so input decoration. And inside the input decoration, first of all we want to give the hint text, so hint text, and this text will be enter the student name. Now after doing this much you will have a text field on the top, and the another thing that you want to do is just copy this padding from here till here and just paste it 2 more times. So just paste it 2 more times and add a comma to format, or add a comma to remove the error. And when you add a comma, the first thing you see is that the keyboard doesn't pop up in the simulator right now, but the problem will be that in the student name and student roll number, or sorry, student age or student roll number, the letter or the letter keyboard will open up. That we don't want. We want the number keyboard to open up. So to do that we can say keyboard type is text input type dot number. So what it will basically do is it will open up a number keyboard, and we can just copy this and paste it again in the roll number. And instead of the student name we can say here we want the student roll number, so student roll number, and in here we want the student age. And also instead of the name controller this will be age controller, and this will be roll controller. Now here we have the basic setup. So if we add we can just type up a name, type an age. For now we can it will pop up a number keyboard, but for now we can type it from our keyboard, so a random number, and here it works. Now what we want is to add student button right here. So for this we will create a new elevated button below the padding, so elevated button. And on pressed we want to do nothing for now, so on pressed we will just leave it blank. And in the child we will say we want the child to be a text, so const text, and this text will say add student, so add student. And if we add a comma right here we will format the code. So this is the basic structure of the app setup. Now we can go and configure our Hive database. So now let's configure our Hive database. So let's import the Hive database Hive package first. So import package and Hive and hive.dart, and also we want Hive Flutter. So import package and Hive underscore Flutter, Hive Flutter.dart. And after importing these two packages, now we want to configure the Hive database and create a new database. So for creating the new database, you need to come to the void main and make it a async function. And inside this, before the run app, we want to say await Hive dot init Flutter. That will start the Hive database inside Flutter. And after doing this, we want to create a new variable that will be our box that I explained in the previous video, and it will be await, and we want to create a new box or open up the already existing box. So await Hive dot open box, and the open box will be have some name. So let's say we will give it a name student data, and make sure the spelling is correct because people make mistake right here. So student data, okay, it's perfect. So now we have configured the Hive database and created a new box. Now what we want to do is just use this box in our app. So to do that, we want to come down in our app, and we will say we will come here inside our state widget, and we will say variable box data. So this will be our data from the Hive box that we created. So equals to Hive dot box, and in this box the name was student data. So let's go up and copy this name and paste it right here and just close this. So what we basically did is we created open the box and get the box data, and this is the data of the box that we are creating. Now what we want to do is we will create some functions for this box. So first of all, we will need to create a new function to write the data. So write data will be a new function that will be a asynchronized function. So async, and in here we will come below, and we will say await because we want to await, and box data dot put. Now what we are basically doing is we are putting a value in the box data that we just opened, and inside the box data it accepts the key value pair format. So the key will be, let's say we want to put it at the box data dot length plus 1. That means we are putting it at the end of the box data, and this will be something like the name controller, age controller, and role controller. So name controller dot text, age controller dot text, and lastly the role controller dot text. So what we are basically doing is we are just putting the data, our data that is in the name controller, age controller, and role controller inside the box data that will be at the index, which is at the end of the box data, and we are adding one more value to it, so plus 1. So basically we are adding a value to our box data. So as I said, we can manipulate the values, so we are manipulating it, and we can add the comma to format the code. And after doing this, we want to just make them empty. So we want to make the controllers empty. So name controller dot text equals to a blank text. Age controller dot text, it will also be a blank text, and also the role controller will also be a blank text. So after doing this, we are adding the values to our database. Now what we want to do is we want to create the student card. So let's go below right here, and okay, right here, and make a new expanded widget to get all the space that is available right here. And as a child of the expanded, we want a single child scroll view because we want our student list to be scrollable. And inside this, first of all, the scroll direction will be axis dot vertical. So axis dot vertical, and we will just save this. And also we want to add comma right here to format the code. Add comma right here to format it, and as a child of the single child scroll view, we will add a column. So inside this column there will be, okay, let's not use column because then we will need to add size box again and again. So instead of the column we will use wrap, and run spacing will be 40. So basically this will give a vertical spacing of 40. And after this we want the children of the wrap, and the children will be student cards. So student cards that we have not created yet, so we will need to create the student cards. So that will be after the defining of this. Okay, so after doing this, after creating the variables, now we want to create a new list, and this list will be returning a widget, list of widgets, and student cards. And we will just create this and come down. Now we want to create a new list, so list, and this list will contain all the widgets. So list of widget, and we will name it student list, and this student list will be empty as by default. And we will loop through all the data in our box data. So we will go to a for loop. So for var I equals to 1, because in here we just started from the 1 index in the box data, so we will need to specify 1 here. And var I equals to 1 when I is smaller than box data dot length. So when I is smaller than box data length, and plus 1 because we are starting with 1, and we want to increase I by 1, so I plus plus. After doing this much, we came inside the for loop, and inside the for loop we want to append some items to the student list. So let's first of all return the student list in the last. So return student list, so it doesn't give the error. Now we will come in the for loop again, and inside the for loop we will first say we want to add some value in the student list. So student list dot add, and the value will be our widget that we are going to return, that is in this case a container. And in this container we will do the further styling. So padding, we will give it a padding of, let's just close this, and now we can just go through the styling. So we will give it a padding of constant at insets, so at insets dot all, and we want to give it a padding of 20. Now after this we want to give the container a width. So width will be media query dot size or dot of context dot size dot width, and the width will be minus 60. So we want to take the full screen width and minus it by 60 to just remove half or some of the space. Now we want to take a height, and the height will be 180 by default, so 3 times the width that we minus. And after this we want to give it a decoration. So inside the decoration will take the box decoration, and inside the box decoration inside the box decoration we will give it a border first of all. So border, and border will be border dot all, so to give the border on all sides. So after doing this, yes, it gives an error. So it gives an error, box not found, did you forget to call Hive open box? So we will check out that later, but for now we will complete the styling. So if we add a comma right here, then we will just come again where we were. Okay, we were here, and here we will say that we want to give the border a border radius, and this will be border radius dot circular, and it will be of radius 20. Now finally we want to give it a color, that is colors dot gray, and we want to make it a little lighter or little transparent, so with opacity 0.7. Now after doing this much, we have created our container. Now as a child of the container we want to give some other, where it is, as a child of the container we want to give a column to contain our text that will contain the name, age and roll number. So let's do that. So we will come below right here, and we will give it child, and inside the child we will say we want a column. So we will add a column, and inside the column we will say we want to add a children, and after the children we will add a text, and in the text we will say we want to give it a tag student name will be, and then we will create a dollar sign and curly brackets and box data dot get at the index of I, and the it will return an array, so we want the 0th index from there, so it will create a text that will return the student name. Now likewise we want to create another text, so we will just add a comma right here to format the code again, and first of all we will give it some styling, so style, and as a style we will give it a text style or constant text style, so const text style, and inside the text style we want to say font weight will be font weight dot w700, so font weight dot w700, and font size will be something like 18, and we will add a comma, and we will just reload this app or hot restart, and as you can see our app is back. We just hot restarted it, and we will again come down, and after coming down we want to add another two text, so we will just copy this text and paste it two more times instead, so and add a comma right here also. Now after this we can say student age and student roll number, so roll number, and box data dot get the index I will be the same, but we want to change these values, so this will be at the index of 1 and this will be at the index of 2. Now we also want to just change these values for a good styling, so the age will be at w500 and the roll number will be at w400 or 300, so we are giving a gap of 200 to all of them. Now if we save that, now it should render. Okay, let's just go here and return student list. Okay, we return the student list and we return the student cards. Perfect. Now we can just test this app, so we will give our name, we will give it an age, and we will give it a roll number, and we will add the student. Now it didn't add it, so that's because we didn't give the on press function, so we will need to give the on press function. So we will just come down right here and we will say we want to set state, so instead of multi-line function we will just create set state, and inside the set state we want to write the data, and we will just close this. Okay, now we don't want this. Okay, perfect. Now what we did is we just when we press the add student button, we will just run this function, that is write data, and what it will do is it will put the value of this three fields inside the list and it will display it. So now let's try it again. Let's just reload it one time and let's do it again. So let's give it a name, let's add an age, so 14, and roll number 2, and add student, and here we go, we have the student. But one thing's not good right here is that there is no spacing between these texts, so we can give some spacing between these texts. So here we can use a size box, so we will come down again, and after the text we will say fonts size box, and inside the size box height will be 30, and we will add a comma to separate this text widget with it, and we will just copy it and paste it here, and when we save it, it looks perfect, and this is what we wanted. Now you can add one more, let's say John, and again give it some random values and add student, and here is John. Now what we can do is to test it, we can just quit the app. So from here just quit the app. I think this will not work because we will need to just close the app from here, so just close the app from here and run the app again, that will do a better job. And here we go, our app is launched and the two values that were there are still there. and if we just quit the app, now it will work. So if we just quit the app and again open it, the two values are there, and we can add another value again. So let's say we add the Jack again, the age will be something random, roll number will be random, and here is Jack. So yeah, our app is working and we implemented the Hive database. So let's just revise everything. So we imported the Hive packages, then we just opened a new box from here. In the main function, we just created init the Hive from Flutter, and we created a new box of student data and opened the new box, and inside that box we just extracted the data from that box, and then we manipulated that data and we put new data inside that box. Now after doing this, we just displayed that data, and when we quit, we just loop again and we write the data, and we loop again and we come to the top and we do the same things again and again, and here is our data without any loss. So that was it for this video. If you want more videos like this on Flutter and for Swift UI, make sure to subscribe my channel and comment down below your next video ideas. So let's meet in the next video. Bye bye.